Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are currently taking a break from our series in Mark, and I'm just going to be doing kind of a chit chat, very casual video for you guys this week because my family is on vacation. So if you are following along with my Steward Your Home series, just know that the next section of Mark, which is chapters 4 through 7, as well as the next meal plan, will be available on Sunday. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about pregnancy, my miscarriage, and then my health journey. And although health honestly sounds super boring, and I, even a few months ago, wouldn't have wanted to listen to anybody's health journey or learn anything about health, I don't want to bore you, but I want to share some interesting things that I found. Maybe you will find them interesting as well, but things I just never realized or looked into, and so I will be sharing those with you as well. So let's jump into it. I am hopeful that this time my microphone will work. I feel like every time I use this microphone, it either doesn't have any sound because it never transmits it to my little transmitter that's attached to my phone, or it just dies and then there's no sound. So I'm hoping that when I go to edit this video, we have sound. So jumping right into it, I'm going to start by talking about my pregnancy and the highs and lows of this current pregnancy. And if you remember, or if you watched my suffering series that I did, there were 3 episodes and we dove into scripture talking about suffering. I tried to provide some encouragement during your time of suffering, or whoever was watching, if they're suffering, someone they know is suffering. And one of the things that I talked about was that you are either someone who is beginning a time of suffering, you're in the midst of suffering, or you have just finished suffering, you're just kind of getting out of it. And with suffering, I talked about how there is a cross. Jesus says that we have to pick up our cross and follow him. So everyone has a cross. And so either you are picking up a new cross, you're carrying your cross, or, you know, Jesus is helping you finally put that cross down. Whether or not you will pick it up again, you know, we don't know. But during that second episode, I shared that I was currently picking up a new cross. And I didn't really explain about that, but at that time, I ended up miscarrying the twin to my little girl that I'm pregnant with right now. So we knew we had twins. We were very excited, and this actually wasn't our first set of twins. I actually ended up miscarrying multiple babies before, but this was very different, and I think it was different primarily because my body still remained pregnant, obviously with the little girl that I'm pregnant with now, but the miscarriage itself was just very different. And so I have gone through like super early miscarriages. I've gone through a later, like late first trimester, early second trimester miscarriage. And this one was early. And so it was different in the sense that normally with miscarriages, there's intense cramping, there's a lot of clotting. And every time that I've had a miscarriage, I know that it's coming. So I start to feel like period cramps, but on steroids. I know I'm pregnant, so I can kind of expect, oh, this is what's going to happen. You know, you're hoping, praying that it's not, but that's what ends up happening. But with this pregnancy specifically, I sat down on March 7th, so that's the day before my birthday, and I was going to teach my kids. I sat down in the chair, and you know when you just kind of feel something, not to do too much TMI, but you just kind of feel like if your period starts or something, and you feel that there's something there. And because I've had miscarriages before, my tendency is always, whenever I go to the bathroom, I'm just like praying, like, please don't see blood. Just like, don't see blood. I don't want to see blood. I did not have any cramping before this. I didn't have any signs of miscarriage. I simply just sat down to teach my children and was like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. And when I went to the bathroom, I did see blood. And so during that process, I said, Lord, let your will be done. And so I said that again. But anybody who has experienced a miscarriage, experienced loss, you just feel the heartache, you feel hope leaving you. So I just prayed, like, Lord, let this just be normal bleeding that's occurred. Let it stop, let it not continue. And throughout that whole day, I just bled. So I bled all of the 7th, but I never had a clot, and I had light to moderate cramping. So it really wasn't anywhere near the miscarriages that I had before with the intense cramping. And I would say that would be because my uterus wasn't really trying to get rid of everything, trying to expel everything, because I still had that pregnancy happening. So my husband and I went through this period where we just assumed, we've lost them both. I miscarried. We had a lot of highs and lows in that, because when you're suffering alongside someone else, it really brings you closer together. And honestly, it could either really tear you away from God or bring you closer to God. And because my faith was so much deeper and so much more matured with this miscarriage than any of my other ones before, it did bring me closer to God, in that I had to trust him, which is really, really hard, especially when you're experiencing such pain and loss and you just don't understand, and sometimes you just will never understand. But my husband and I, we cried together and we grew closer together, which was very beautiful. And then we had another low of going in for an ultrasound to see if the second baby was still there. And what had happened is, because one sac ended up like on top of the other one, it ended up pushing down and flattening my current pregnancy baby, my current girl. It was essentially flattening her to where they said it doesn't look like a normal sac. We can't really see what's happening with baby. And the best that we got was, we don't know. It could be that it's pushing down and that's why it looks like that, or it could be that this is abnormal and you will miscarry this baby as well. And so that was also really hard, because again, with pregnancy, things go by so fast, but it also goes by so slow. And when you are just waiting for news, you're waiting to see baby a little bit better, because again, this was really early on. And you can't see everything well. It's so hard to wait to get to that point that then the ultrasound shows more. So then we waited, and my husband and I went together. Oh, I love that. Look at that.
That one's for you.
This one's for me?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Here you go.
Thank you. I love that. So my husband was able to then take off work eventually when the ultrasound would be better, show things clearer, and we would finally get the result of whether, baby looks good or baby doesn't have a heartbeat. And so when I went to the doctor, I did receive a little bracelet that somebody commented on, and it said hope, and it had a little Bible verse with it. And so I was trying to remain hopeful, but I'm not going to lie, I had very little hope. And when we got to the doctor, I prayed, and we were just so excited when we saw baby's heartbeat, and it looked really good. And the sac had just totally transformed. It was back to a normal shape. It was a complete different ultrasound from the one that I was at previously. And so that was just really beautiful. And it was definitely a trial of, trusting in God. So after that, the pregnancy went pretty well. It was very different in the fact that this is the first pregnancy I had where I did not throw up. All of my other pregnancies, I threw up. But this one was the first one that I just felt nauseous, but never actually threw up, which was kind of crazy. And that is also why you did not see very many videos from me for the past few months, because I have just been so tired and so sick. And it was also a different pregnancy in the fact that my symptoms didn't start happening, like sickness symptoms, until week 9. So it was like from week 9 to week 17 that I felt sick and like super tired and struggled more. Whereas the first part, I didn't really feel nauseous. I didn't throw up. I felt a little bit tired, but there wasn't a ton happening, which is usually very opposite from all of my pregnancies. So my pregnancy otherwise has gone pretty well. I am feeling pretty good now, and I am just getting excited to have her. As I mentioned earlier, we are having a girl. So we have a 7-year-old girl, a 6-year-old boy, a 4-year-old girl, a 2-year-old boy, and so we'll have another girl, keeping our girl boy pattern. And I moved our son Judah, who's 2, over to another room. I had to paint that. We redid that room. And so I will be taking you guys along with me as I redo the nursery. I'm also trying to go through all of our baby things. I have to go through clothes again. I did give away a ton of clothes. We do not have a ton left. We have different totes for the different sizes, but I purged through so much. And what I have learned through my pregnancies is honestly, less is more. It gets very cluttery and chaotic to me when I just have too many clothes, too many toys, too many things. And so just like I did with Judah, I will probably just have a little basket that I fill with some clothes, and then I will just wash the clothes, keep reusing them. I do a lot of zip up pajamas when they're a newborn, because it covers all of them. I have their legs covered, their feet covered, their arms covered. You can cover their little hands. It zips from both ways. So I tend to just do that. I keep it very simple. I don't put my kids in very extravagant outfits or super cute outfits. The less I have to take off, like pant-wise, shorts, diaper covers, all that, the less that I have to do, the better for me, honestly, at this point. And then we have a lot less baby stuff. I don't have all of the gadgets. We are just very basic and very simple. And I will show you that as I get the nursery ready. I can totally make a video if people are interested in what I feel someone needs to have, or maybe not even needs, should have, would benefit from having, versus extra things. Just really a video of here are the essentials, and the rest, it's nice if you want it, but you don't need it. So let me know if you are interested in that. Otherwise, the other area that I have been really focusing on is the health aspect for my kids, for my husband, for myself, especially now that I'm pregnant. I am not, and never have been, the healthiest person. I have never honestly cared that much about health. I think it was in 2017, I really made like a lifestyle change of removing all chemicals and like cleaning products, laundry detergent, dish soap, all this stuff when I was going through my struggles of infertility. And that's also another subject. But during that time, I really got rid of everything and like jumped onto the Norwex bandwagon and like trying to have everything natural, but it kind of faded away. And then I kind of got back to the more convenient things. And now I've kind of looked at health, not just as a, okay, oh, here's what I should do to try and get pregnant. Now it's like, okay, here's why our family should be eating this, why we shouldn't be using this, why these products are no longer like allowed in our home or not good for us. And I feel like now I actually care about the science behind health and the foods that we put in our body, in our children's body, and what it's doing. Whereas before, when I was trying to do more of healthy living, I just really wanted to eliminate toxins so I could get pregnant. So it is very different, but my journey really has started with then being pregnant and then trying to look into some things I should be taking to make sure that the prenatals that I take are organic and just cover all the nutrients. But I've never really looked into it before this point. Like I just trusted, yep, this looks good and I'll take it. And now I am very curious of, why do I need this? Can my body create this? Can I get this through just my foods? Do I actually need to be taking supplements? Those sort of questions. And I am so interested in all of those answers and diving deep into it. I'm not going to add to this video because I know it's going to be long, but I am very passionate now about ingredients and ingredients to avoid, how to get nutrients from foods so that you don't have to spend a bunch of money on supplements for you or your children, because they are expensive. And then another area that I kind of ended up walking down, which I will not lie, I didn't want to walk down this road, but I started looking into vaccines, which is a super controversial topic. And what I will say with that is, my husband is a doctor. All of our kids are vaccinated to a certain point. My older kids probably are due for some vaccines. Honestly, I'm not sure. But we ended up just taking the kids to the appointments, what I did, and then, if they're due for shots, I'd get them shots. And I was actually looking into it more, and I was starting to discover a lot of things that I deemed were red flags, a lot of ingredients, and looking into those ingredients, looking into the adjuvants, looking into what the side effects were to each vaccine. And I told myself, I owe it to myself, my children, to truly look into it and not just blindly trust. And this is in all areas. This isn't just in vaccines. So what I will say is, I am not an anti-vaxxer. However, there are a lot of things with vaccines that have raised many concerns for me, and then I have brought to my husband, and we've kind of talked about. It has been a long conversation and a lot to look into. I'm actually super excited for further studies to be done on certain ingredients like aluminum as an adjuvant. But there are many things like that where currently I don't feel comfortable with vaccines. But again, my kids are vaccinated up to a certain point. And so it's not that I don't see any good in vaccines, it's that I see some concerns that I want to look into further. And what the purpose would be for me sharing anything with vaccines or anything with pesticides, herbicides, ingredients, is I just want to give you information so that you can make a more informed decision on what you want to do, whether you want to buy organic, whether you want to just buy conventional foods, whether you want to go to the farmer's market, whether you want to vaccinate your kids, whether you don't. That's not my decision. I'm not trying to choose things for you or tell you what to do. I just like learning information that I think is super important for our health and for our children's health. And I want to just pass that along so that it gives you guys something to think about. So if you are interested in any of those types of topics, do let me know. But essentially, the vaccine train then got me into the vitamin train, because I was listening to a podcast where the doctor was talking about how our body doesn't just naturally make vitamins. And so we have to get vitamins through our food. And I thought that was super interesting. And so I wanted to know, well, what vitamins and minerals does our body naturally make, and what do we have to get through foods, or if not, through through vitamins and minerals that we buy at the store, supplements. And so that has been such an interesting journey, because that really does affect our health. And I've learned about the microgut biome and just why it's called the second brain, and how it does affect your brain, and how literally everything that we put into our body is used and absorbed, and how that does affect us and how that affects our children, especially when we look around and see kind of what's happening with kids and their health, and just our health. And I can only speak for America, so our health in America, and all the chronic diseases and the illnesses, and what can I do as a mom to try and help them and help them build immunity. So I have been super into those types of topics and learning about it. I have a long ways to go. I am was never in the health field. I don't know much, but I'm trying to deep dive on things that I find really essential and important. And so if you are interested in any of those types of topics, please let me know. And that is kind of why I wanted to share this new series where we focus on eating wholesome from scratch foods, where I give you the nutrition breakdown so you can see what your kid is eating throughout the day, or yourself, and kind of then what else you need to eat so that you can meet the daily or even weekly minimums for your vitamins and minerals and fiber and protein. And so that is why I have loved adding recipes, why I have really been into milling my own grains, and why I have been really into making all of my food from scratch and milling our own wheat here at home. And I would love to, share more about that, but my hope is that I can put some recipes out there so that you guys can do it too. You can bring it to your family, as well as a lot of natural living recipes. That way you can just make some natural recipes for bug spray and itch cream and shampoo and conditioner and deodorant and toothpaste and all sorts of things to have in your home, where you can eliminate a lot of the toxic ingredients, preservatives, dyes, fragrances that are affecting us and our children. So thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it to this point. I am sorry for all of the rambling and the interruptions. I am so appreciative that you have stayed this long and listened to this video. Please share any information down below that you would like to see, any information that you think others should know about, any articles or studies or blog posts or anything that you have found very helpful, whether it's related to babies, pregnancy, vaccines, food, health, no matter what it is. And I am excited to continue the journey through stewarding our home, decluttering, detoxifying, cooking from scratch, making natural recipes, and really just living out this vocation of being a homemaker, a wife, and a mother that God has blessed us with. This is a special vocation, and I'm so happy and excited that I get to share it alongside of you. And just so you know, you guys and your emails and your comments are so encouraging to me, more than you realize. It's like truly more than you realize. And I'm just so thankful for everyone who comments, for everyone who shares advice. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week while we continue our study of Mark.